Okay guys, in this tutorial I'm going to show you how to use this assembly. I'm going to show you the standard mates, like how to mate different things. And for that I prepared three parts. I prepared a cube, a cylinder, and a ring. So I'm gonna start here by canceling this. Once you open assembly, you're gonna see something like this, and by default it's going to ask you to please insert a component, because without components you can assemble nothing. So I'm gonna go to SolidWorks parts, cube, and the first part that I insert is not gonna move. That's the first thing you need to take into account. It will not move. It doesn't matter what, when you try to move it by clicking and dragging, it's not gonna move, because it's going to be fixed there. Nothing will move it. So in order to mate something, to create a relationship between one component and the other, you need at least two components. So I'm gonna open another cube, and as you can see, I'm gonna insert it no matter where. This is the original one. When I try to click and drag to move it, nothing's gonna happen. But when I do the same with this one, this moves, and it can rotate and it can do a lot of things. So the idea is simple. I'm gonna try to put this component somewhere here. But as you can see, it's not that easy, because you have 3 dimensions to play with. So what I need to do is something like that, but okay, you got the idea. Something like this, I guess. So first thing you need to take into account, SolidWorks doesn't understand anything about physics if you don't limit the parameters. If you don't tell it what to do, something like this could happen. So since we don't need that, we need to try to check if our parts can match each other. We're gonna use the tool mate. In the tab assembly, we're gonna use the tool mate. Mate, in this video I'm gonna show you how to use all this. It's pretty basic, it's extremely simple, and the idea is that I'm gonna explain you only what you need, and after that you can work on your own. So coincident mate will basically make two things coincident. It doesn't matter if it is a surface, it doesn't matter if it is an edge, or it doesn't matter if it is just a dot. It will make them coincident. So what do I need to make coincident in this case? I'm gonna make coincident this edge and this other edge. When I click on the tick, as you can see, now they are coincident. What's the thing? That I didn't specify the angle for this, if this thing can rotate or not. As you can see here, it is coincident, but like this. It will be always in the same axis, but it still can rotate, it still can do a lot of things, because I haven't specified anything. So what else do I need to do? We're gonna go with parallel. Parallel would require two flat things. It can be an edge or it can be a surface, because both are flat. So I'm gonna click on parallel, and when it asks me what do you want to make parallel with what, I'm gonna select this one, and then I'm gonna rotate this and this one. Parallel will create an angle of 180 degrees between two surfaces, which is exactly what I want. But in this case, I have this movement. I cannot rotate it anymore, because now they are parallel, but they still move. So we need to fix that somehow. In that case, I'm gonna insert another component so I can show you perpendicular, and then we continue. So here on insert components, I'm gonna select another cube. I'm gonna put it somewhere, I don't care where. And here on move component, here on the arrow, rotate component, I'm gonna rotate this so it won't be like in a good way to put it in my assembly. So I'm gonna do the same, but on the other side. I'm gonna do the same, but here on this corner. I'm gonna click on mate, and I'm gonna select perpendicular. Perpendicular will create an angle of 90 degrees between two flat things. It can be an edge or a surface. So I'm gonna create it between this surface and this surface. Automatically I have an angle of 90 degrees, but we're in 3 dimensions, so this thing still can move everywhere. So next step, I'm gonna make it coincident. So I can use, for example, this dot that is right in the corner, and this dot that is right on the corner. So now the dot is there and it is perpendicular. the two surfaces that we selected are perpendicular. But remember that this is a thing in 3D, not in 2D. So it can be perpendicular mostly anywhere. So how can I fix that? Again, I'm going to select Coincident, and I'm going to make Coincident this corner and this corner. Now, the one on the left doesn't move at all, because as you can see, it says the selected component is fully defined, it cannot be moved. But this one can move. So pretty much we can use Coincident and it will move. But I need to show you the next. So again, I'm going to insert components, and this time I'm going to select something that looks or has a circle in it. So I'm going to insert this cylinder. I'm going to go to Mate, and the next one is Tangent. Tangent requires a flat surface and a circle. So that's why I inserted this. So first thing you're going to need, you need to select the circle. The circle, I'm going to select this, for example. And then you're going to select a flat surface or a flat something. So I'm going to select this edge. This surface, sorry. Once I selected the surface, you're going to see that the circle will be always attached to the surface, but the edge of the circle, it doesn't matter how I move it, the edge of the circle will be always touching that surface, no matter what. On the same axis, I mean. So basically, Tangent will make Coincident a circle or a circular shape with a surface. In order for this to be completed, we're going to use Concentric, and in Concentric I need to use two things that use circles. So I'm going to insert a new component. My second component will be this that I call ring. So what am I going to do? I'm going to select this and this. So I'm going to Mate, and I need to make this Concentric with this. Now, those two circles will have the same axis, so it doesn't matter where I move this, the other part will move along. Since it's not fully defined, it will move like crazy. So I'm going to leave it like here to have control of both. And we have lock, distance, and angle. So let's start with lock. Lock basically lock two components together. It doesn't matter what other things you have, it will lock them together. So I'm going to say that I'm going to lock these two. Let's assume that that is in the middle, so I'm going to say lock, and I'm going to lock this component with this component. And when I click on the tick, now they don't move. They move together always. But the ring will be always wrapping the cylinder. Then we have distance and we have degrees. So for distance, we're going to use, I'm going to click on distance and I'm going to select 0 millimeters. And my distance of 0 millimeters will be between this surface and this surface. And if you remember, those things were able to move, not anymore, because it's fully defined. Since the distance between this and this is 0, it cannot move anymore. The axis is not able to move anymore. And we still have this thing, like rolling around, which is the last component that the last standard made that we have is angle. And angle will basically create an angle between two flat things, two flat surfaces or two flat edges or whatever. So I'm gonna say angle. I'm gonna create an angle of 45 degrees, and my angle of 45 degrees will be between this surface and this surface. So as you can see, it is aligned now. It doesn't matter how I move it. It doesn't matter how I move it. It is angled in this case. And the angle is of 45 degrees. So in this case, that's the way they work. That's the way all mates work. Basically, For coincident, you can make coincident everything but circles. In parallel, you need to use two flat things, surfaces or edges. Perpendicular, two flat things, surfaces or edges. Tangent, you need to use a circle and a flat surface or a flat edge. No, a flat surface only, sorry. Concentric, you need to use two circles. Log, you log two components, the whole component, not just a surface, not just a dot, not just an edge, it's the whole component. A distance is between two surfaces, only flat surfaces, and an angle is between two flat surfaces. And those are all the standard mates that you need to learn how to use.